So we'll get right into the video here. We'll go over Bitcoin. We'll go over Ethereum. So Bitcoin having a little bit of a nosedive here recently. We've seen this kind of dump happen, and now we're consolidating here, forming a little range. The question obviously now, is this the beginning of a larger correction? Are we going to see a pullback into this previous range here, a much bigger dump? Or is this just a higher low, ran some lows, and we're going to go higher? So Bitcoin, personally, I'm hoping we get a larger retracement here to get into some shorts. What I do not want to see right away is just this kind of dribble down. I would bid this kind of previous range high here, 42K. To me, this is going to be a critical area. If you remember, right, we had essentially 3 months here of consolidation, and then a breakout to the upside back to 50K. So this range to me is not something I want to see us get back within. If this kind of comes back into this range and stays below here, I think that's quite bad. So personally, if we do go down here, I think this kind of former range high, you have this kind of order blocky looking thing here, you have this nice clean SR level. This is effectively this former range high, right? So we have this former range high here. This was our initial range that we were trading within, broke out to the upside, retested, pushed away. So I want to see this former range high get defended, assuming we're going to see continued bullishness. So if we do break down here, I would be looking to bid around this former range high and potentially slightly lower. If we get some sort of, big wick or some sort of quick move in and out, I would probably layer bids all the way down to about 40K for like a swing trade. So I'm now on the 3-day chart here. So I would say anywhere between here to here is where I would probably want to be bidding Bitcoin if we get some sort of dump. So that's effectively 40 to 42,000 with an invalidation below this swing low, which is 37K. That would be kind of a high time frame swing setup that you could potentially take. So you're bidding the 3-day order block here. This is the down candle that caused the up move that broke market structure near a key level and then pushed away. So on a first retest of this area, you would assume that it is going to be support. This is something that I would bid here. If it comes back that low, I would probably start bidding earlier though. I would bid the range high, right? The range high, that 42K level, right down into about 40K for a swing trade. Stop around here, 37K for the fucking moon, right? Not the moon, but targeting here, making a new high, right? So bid here, boom, stop there. If that happens, I'm not saying that's going to happen for sure, but if that happens, that's a scenario I would like to play. So that's a long scenario. Now I'm going to talk about a short scenario. Effectively, what I would be looking for is a retrace of this dump back into the premium of the range, right? The upper part of the range, right into the OTE of the range, big retracement. And then this is an area where I would look to actually get short Bitcoin with my stop up here for a potential leg down, maybe back into here, and then potentially long it back up, right? We'll see. But this is definitely a short scenario if it plays out that I will absolutely be taking. If we get that kind of break up here, which we might, I'm going to be looking to take a short because at this time, this is a bearish market structure break on the H12. So we made higher highs and higher lows, higher highs, higher lows, higher highs, higher lows, high. Now we have a lower low. So our anticipation is the next move to be a lower high, potentially. Obviously, it could go this and then it could go higher. The way I trade is this is a short setup that I would take. So if we get a move up here, or at least hedge some of my bets, cut some alt exposure, whatever you want to fucking do, you definitely got to be careful up in this area because my expectation would be a lower high here and then potentially another lower low. And then maybe we get a higher time frame, right? Higher low for a more macro trend move up. And that just goes to infinity right there. If we get something like this, I'm looking to short up here, back down into here. Why am I looking to short? Well, those are the reasons, right? Lower low on the H12, retracement is a sell. We have a bearish order block here. We have a breaker block up here. We also have this little kind of over under level here, right? So this is like a failed breakout level right here. You have the high, broke above, right back below. So up into here, effectively, that's a deviation, meaning that is your risk. short that bad boy there. So if we get something like that, I'm looking to short it this week. If we get something like I talked about earlier, some sort of breakdown here, I'm looking to potentially long that. Okay, so that's the long scenario, the short scenario, kind of high time frame for you guys on Bitcoin. And then what I'm gonna do now is I'm going to zoom in and I will show you some potential kind of low time frame interweek plays that I'm watching based on what I'm seeing forming for the next couple days, because this could take a little while to play out. This is, remember, from the 3-day chart, that long scenario I showed you, right? And this is the 12-hour chart, right? So this might take a few days to get back up here. We'll wait and see. We'll be patient. Pretty straightforward. There's no trade for me here, high time frame right now. I want to see a retracement. We just had a violent move. I want to see the market either put in a higher low and then, you know, build in some bullishness to get into longs, or I want to see it obviously, you know, move up and then see some weakness up here to get into shorts. All right, so looking at the intraday, this is very reminiscent to me of like 2018 kind of, you know, BitMEX running the market days where it was just really kind of choppy. You had a lot of the BARTs, right, where moves would happen, very inefficient move, would go up and then completely retrace. This is ugly. Not really a trade here for me unless we can probably get above the mid-range here, right? So we broke down. We're now going sideways. You draw your range out, right? Move happens, right? There's your bounce point. Now you can draw out your range, and now you have some levels to work with, right? So boom, boom, boom. And now you can actually start putting some context into the market. So as much as this is choppy, we at least were able to establish a very clear trading range here almost immediately. Right after the dump happened, pick the high and the low. You could also use this low, but I don't really like the low of the dump candle, especially because it retraced so much. To me, this seems like a much better area. As you can see, price is respecting the levels quite well. Now we have context. From an intraday perspective, we have context. Remember, the high time frame, which is always going top down, right? Always going top down. The high time frame just made a lower low. So we have to realize that if we are taking longs here up to here, that they are technically counter trend, and we want to realize that if we get up here, we might be in a great long. You got to take some profit here because there is a chance that we now get resynced with the high time frame order flow. That becomes a lower high, and then the move down is actually much more aggressive. This is technically, any sort of longs on the low time frame here are going to be counter the H12 time frame or the daily time frame, which is what I use as my high time frame bias. That is your daily swing low. We are now bearish technically on the daily. Let's go back to the hourly here. Doesn't mean we can't get in longs, but just remember the context, right? If you get in a long here and we're way up here now and you've TP'd 0 of it, and then you go away from your computer and you come back and we've done this, you can't be surprised, right? You can't be surprised because technically we're bearish on the high time frame. I like longs kind of from an intraday perspective above the mid-range. We've got a lot of nice interactions at this level here. Clear support, breakdown, rejection, rejection, rejection. If we are able to get above here, I would be interested into potentially scaling into some longs. Target 1, top of the range. Target 2 would be filling some of this inefficiency here. There's a big void up here. So if we're able to get above the range high, from there to there, effectively, this is like air. So if we're able to get up here, I think this is something that would fill in quite quickly. Where are we looking to take profits into? There's our bearish 1 hour order block, the up candle that caused the down move that broke market structure. That first test up there is your short zone. Your stop could go here, or if you want to take that high time frame setup that I mentioned, it's going to line up very well with this area. So if I mark out this 1 hour block here and we zoom out to the 12 hour, where do you think that is? Boom, right at the 7-9, right in line with the 12 hour order block. Order block within an order blockception, okay? That is your TP area. That is your short hunting area. Personally, I would probably be taking the short either on the 12 hour with my stop up here, or I would be zoomed into a lower time frame like the hourly, and I would be looking for some sort of weakness to form up here. So maybe we come up here, we fill some of this in, and then we get some sort of SFP, right? And then that might give me a tighter invalidation, or if we get some sort of over under, right, where it trades up and then breaks back down, Now you have a clear invalidation, you have an entry, and we short that sucker back into there. We could see a breakdown, or we could see some sort of fake out to the upside, obviously, right? Like, I'm pretty sure if we get above the range high, we fill this up to here. We fill this candle in. However, if we come up here, right, like we already kind of have a nasty swing failure pattern here, but if we come up here again and then break down, absolutely you can short. Also, if we just roll over here, right, if we roll over here and break below the lower part of the range, we've had 3 tests of the range low. If we do not pump from here, the next test, in my opinion, will not hold and will break down. So if we're not able to get above mid-range here today, tomorrow, we could be putting in the high of the week, you know, very early, or I guess this is the high of the week. But we could very easily see a rejection. And then if we lose that range low, I would look to short from here to here, and then potentially down to that 40K level, which I had drawn out from the 3-day order block. Those would be the short scenarios. Now that we've got this range established and we've had 3 taps of the lows here, if we do not get above the mid-range here, and then obviously we want to see higher, but if we don't get above the mid-range here, another test of this, I'm looking to short the underside down into 42 and potentially low as 40, which I'll then be looking to potentially flip long into, right? So we've got 42 here, and we've also got our 3-day order block level here. So I would be looking, if we break down from this range, right, to get into shorts into here, and then flip and start scaling into longs, probably with a stop down here for a big swing. Right? 3 taps to the lows. We ran this low here, regained the range low. Let's see if we can get some send happening, right? We've got a ugly ass candle here, but technically this is a 12-hour swing failure pattern. It's ugly, but it is technically a swing failure pattern. So you could argue that this is like a breaker, a huge one. But if we're able, I mean, it's massive, so I don't really like it, but it lines up well with our mid-range. So I'm pretty sure if we get above here, you can start scaling into longs with your stop there or at the range low, targeting 50. So that is a bunch of up or downs, might happen. I don't fucking knows for you, but one of those scenarios should yield us with at least a trade or 2 this week. As usual, I will update on Twitter if anything is playing out. I'm getting into longs, I'm getting into short. I'll do my best to post on Twitter, to post on Discord, and all other forms of social media that I am on. So Ethereum traded much higher into its retracement than Bitcoin. So Bitcoin, from the very high to the very low, came right around the 6.2. Ethereum, however, rallied way harder, all the way up to the 7.9 and rejected. And we actually rejected right in the daily bearish order block that broke market structure and sent price down, came all the way up to it. Boom, there's your lower high. And this is now trading back down here. So Ethereum, like, if that is the top, that is a pretty gnarly complacency shoulder, but that is very consistent with what we see Bitcoin do all the fucking time, right? You have the big dump happen, and then you have a complacency shoulder right in between the 6.2 to the 7.9, right? This is Bitcoin 101. Happens all the time in this market, and it would not surprise me if that is top on Ethereum for now. I don't know, but if that is, I mean, that's about as easy as it gets. The difference for me looking at this complacency shoulder, right, from here to here, and then the bear market, and looking at this and this, is this. It's the time that we spent down here. If this was going to be a complacency bounce, I kind of thought it would look more like, you know, something like this, right? Dump, boom, and then, right, a bear market. The fact that we spent months down here with a spot premium, right, with a lot of what proved to be accumulation going on, makes me more bullish for the continuation of a bull market versus this being the lower high and us going all the way down. I'm open for any option. I'm not counting out this being it and then us trading down. And I'm also not counting out the possibility that, you know, we trade back up and we make a new all-time high on Ethereum and a new all-time high on Bitcoin. I'm ready for whatever. The difference to me between 2017 and now, in terms of like, oh, this is just the complacency shoulder, is this kind of big time and space that we accumulated here before making that move up. Makes me think that it's more likely that we, you know, continue higher, put in a macro macro higher low and then go up versus, you know, this being the complacency shoulder and we're fucked. Anything is possible. I'm just going to play it level to level. But in terms of where Ethereum rejected from, daily bearish order block that caused the down move, retrace right into the 7.9, dump. How do you trade this, right? You could have started shorting here, layered up into here, and your stop goes at the top of the order block. You could have put one ask right there, stop at the top of the order block. You're now in profit. Personally, I end up shorting Ethereum, right? But I'm looking for something on the lower time frame. I'd be looking for something like this, right? Here's a range, breakdown of the range, consolidate. I would probably be looking to short something like that. Much tighter risk reward rather than taking the daily swing short. But if you got short on Ethereum because of that daily bearish order block, I mean, that's textbook 101, how I enter trades. Big retracement, we're into the premium of the range. Daily bearish order block, rejected, dumped. I think Ethereum here is potentially in a little bit better of a spot than Bitcoin, just like kind of from a market structure perspective, in that like Bitcoin, we ran that high and then we broke this low, where Ethereum, we didn't really break the low here. I mean, you could argue that this is your market structure low and we're now bearish, but we're kind of already within this consolidation here. Whereas Bitcoin is a little bit, I don't know, the support doesn't seem as strong here. So looking at Ethereum from like a lower time frame perspective, what do I think could happen? Big rejection on the daily. My next guess would be similar to Bitcoin, that we hopefully retrace some of this move up into here. And then I would do the exact same thing that I would do on Bitcoin, right? I'd be looking to potentially get into shorts here, or at least hedging some of my exposure in this area, stop up here, you know, entry around here, and go from there. That would be kind of the first trade that jumps out at me. In terms of like a lower time frame thing or a long scenario, whatever you want to call it, we are within high time frame support here. So Bitcoin's 3-day order block was here, and we're trading here, right? We're trading at 45K. Its 3-day order block was 40 to 42K. Ethereum, we're trading in that high time frame order block right now. So there is a chance that this is the low on Ethereum, right? Like, I'm not really interested in shorting Ethereum right into this consolidation. You have like basically, you know, SR here, right? Resistance potentially is becoming support now. So I would hope that we at least get some sort of bounce and then up into here, stop here, potentially look for shorts here, depending on what Bitcoin does and shit like that. That's kind of the most obvious trade setup that I see on Ethereum here in the near term. Zooming in on the lower time frame, very similar to Bitcoin. You could draw a range out here, but it's a little bit uglier. 1, 2, 3. Get above the mid-range, probably start scaling into some longs, target there would be my guess, right? Fib from there to there, that's right at the start of the 0.79. Very similar to Bitcoin, we've got a little bit of a void here, empty space that could probably get filled in. That would be kind of your long scenario. Very similar on a low time frame, kind of intraday thing on Ethereum as it is to Bitcoin. Very similar in my opinion. High time frame, hoping we get a retrace into here to potentially short for lower. If we get something like this, don't be surprised. Lower high and potentially a lower low. Similar to Bitcoin, I don't really want to see Ethereum trade back below 2,800 to 2,900. Similar to Bitcoin, that big accumulation range, I don't really want to see us trade below there for any significant period of time. You know, if we come down here, I think you bid it, just like 42K and 40K on Bitcoin. But if we start trading back down here, and this is just some big deviation, it's gonna look really ugly. So it's up to you, man. If you want to bid just the block, by all means you can, right? Like, let's assume for a second you're gonna short this order block here. You absolutely could just put a bid here, or an ask, and your stop here. Or you could layer, right? You could have some bids here, some bids here, some bids here. Maybe you get a better average. It's totally up to you how you want to do it. Personally, on higher time frame order blocks, because the range is big, I will layer. So if you look here, this 3-day order block, the top of it is 40,400. The bottom of it is 37,500. So if I bid here, but then we trade all the way down here, right? And then it goes up, I'm gonna have a shitty entry and I'm gonna be underwater. This is a big price range. So on a higher time frame order block like this one, I would likely layer some bids in, or I would zoom in on a lower time frame and try and find a low time frame order block within the larger order block to get a more refined, tight entry. But if I'm just swinging it, I would probably layer a couple bids on a high time frame order block like this one. Conversely, let's say that we do get this move up here, fill this in. If I'm gonna just short this 1 hour block, I would probably just put one ask at the edge of the block. I wouldn't layer within here. You could zoom into the 5 minute and try and find a low time frame entry within there. That's totally your prerogative. But on an hourly block, I'm more likely, or even a lower time frame block, I'm more likely just to bang it with one order. Because if you look here, you know, this is 50,600 to 51,100. You know, it's 500 bucks here. It's not nearly as big of a range as that 3-day order block, which was a few $1,000s, right? A couple of percent versus, you know, maybe 1%. Like a lot of people will ask me, they'll say, okay, like, hey, do you use open interest? Do you look at the longs versus shorts accumulating? Do you look at inflows and outflows? Do you look at this? Do you look at that? What I always say to people, you know, if it ain't broke, don't fix it. If you have a strategy, a system that you use that is working for you consistently, you do not need to keep adding things. It doesn't mean you can't add new tools to your toolkit. It doesn't mean you can't tweak and shit. But I've spent thousands upon thousands of hours learning how to trade purely based on the charts, purely based on price action. I have no indicators on. I don't even have volume on. I don't really see a need for me to add stuff to my system because I already believe I have an edge. I make money consistently trading this way. So I haven't tried to add a lot of these new things to my arsenal. Maybe that's to my own disadvantage. I don't really know, but this works for me. It's simple. I really understand price action. I like how clean and plain it is. And when I start trying to incorporate too much other shit, it messes me up. Like sometimes I use the in silico suite. It is cool, right? And there are advantages to it. It is something I'll review every once in a while. But I went through a period of time where I was using the in silico indicators a lot, and then I was kind of getting counter signals. So I would see like something on price action, like, you know, maybe an over under playing out, and I'd be like, okay, well, I want to long that, but then, you know, the in silico indicator would be flashing some potential bearish signs, and then this would end up playing out, and then this would just continue higher. And that's probably in part that I don't have a full understanding of the suite, and I could understand it better, but it was just too many cooks in the kitchen, information overload, and I was starting to get counter signals to my price action with indicators or whatever. You know, I'm bullish, and someone's like, oh, there's huge inflows, that's bearish, whatever. I don't know. I do what works for me, and I just kind of stick to that. I don't use open interest. I don't look at the order books. I don't use any indicators really. I don't use volume. I don't look at inflows and outflows. I don't do any of that. I literally share with you guys on Twitter, in Discord, and in these videos, the majority of my entire strategy. And a lot of people are like, why do you do that? Why do you share this shit? Why wouldn't you keep this shit private? For me, I could show you exactly what I do. I pretty much do. I'm giving you the exact setups I'm looking for. It doesn't mean that you're going to be profitable. Doesn't mean that you're going to be able to replicate it. I can show you how to shoot a basketball, but if I've shot the basketball 10,000 times and it's your first time shooting, you're not going to be as good as me. You have to put in the chart time. You have to work on your mental edge, execution, psychology, and you got to get the reps in, the pattern recognition. I'm able to eyeball ranges quickly, and I know that this is a 79% retracement. I can see order blocks on the chart very quickly. I see similar price action patterns happen very quickly because I've been doing this for literally years and years and years. So funding is a way for the exchange to mitigate the difference between the cost of the futures contract and the spot price. So if funding is positive or negative, longs or shorts will either be paying or receiving money to hold a position open. Funding is only relevant on the perp contracts, which stands for perpetual, because they have no expiration date. Theoretically, you could hold it forever, where actual futures contracts, ones that are dated like the December 31st or whatever, they have an expiration date, so they don't pay funding. Any tips on getting more serious into trading? Put more time in, man. Like anything in life, if you want to get good at it, you want to take it seriously, you need to make time and you need to put in the effort, you need to make sacrifices. So for me, when I was working full-time before I was a full-time trader, I would set aside time every single night and I would study, right? I would watch videos, I'd look at charts, that kind of shit. I would refine and work on my edge, right? And I would dig into stuff, but I was addicted and I was after it. I wanted to. As soon as I got home from work. All I want to do is look at the charts, right? So you got to have that desire. Obviously, it's not just about making money. You got to have the desire to want to learn and to get good at it. Put in the time, man, right? If you want to take it seriously, put in the time. If you love something and you want to do it, right, you make time for it. It's no different than a sport, a hobby, anything. You're not going to get good at guitar if you never pick it up and practice, right? 10,000 hours of screen time, thousands of hours of watching YouTube videos, staring at charts, trying things out, taking courses, mentorships, losing a bunch of money. That's about as brief as I can get. Why did you choose crypto markets and not Forex or others? When crypto is trending, there is no other market like it in terms of the volatility, the extremely hard trending bull runs. So I find the price action to be relatively clean and the volatility and the trends are insane. So you can make a lot of money. It's also 24/7. I also own a bunch of Bitcoin and I want to own more Bitcoin and more Ethereum because I think over the long term it's going up. I still do trade Forex. I post trades on gold and silver and shit like that. I don't trade a ton of options or a ton of stocks. Not really my niche. I learned how to trade trading Forex. I still trade Forex, just not nearly as much. I trade a little bit of equities. Like I'll trade the S&P 500, the NASDAQ, shit like that, like the futures contracts, but not nearly as much as I trade crypto. It's my favorite market. I love the community. I love being on Twitter. I love doing these videos. Yo, so crypto is just a limited supply of nothing or what? I don't even understand what that means. Like there's no intrinsic value beside us wanting to get richer. I mean, you could say that. There's people who think crypto is changing the world. They're banking the unbanked. In a lot of maybe underbanked nations, they can use crypto to transact with each other without the need of an intermediary, without the need of a bank. All you need is a cell phone and an internet connection. There's people making money off of it. There's people doing all sorts of great stuff with crypto. So I wouldn't say there's no intrinsic value in crypto. There's so many people on Twitter who are been talking about alt season for like the past 18 months. So, I mean, eventually you're going to be right. We've had some crazy runs on alts, right? Solana, AVAX, there's been shit has been going ham for sure on alts, but we've also had tons of alts over the last 18 months go up thousands and thousands and thousands of %. So if people are saying, oh, the alt party is just getting started, it's like, where the fuck have you been? Alts have appreciated insanely. Can they go way higher? Sure. I don't really know. I'm not really in the game of making those predictions, but you just gotta be careful on Twitter. Very easy engagement baiting to just say alts are gonna go ham because alts have strong communities, people are bag holding, and people want to get rich quick and they want to hit that 10,000% lottery ticket by being all in with their $1,000 on an alt and turn it into 100 grand or whatever. So people love alts, so it's very easy to say alts are gonna go crazy and get a ton of likes and shit. I'm more interested in just trading charts that look good, level to level. That's all I really do. I'm not in the game of just hoping to hit a home run on an altcoin. That's not really how I trade. Am I invested in certain alts? Absolutely. But if they start going super parabolic, I take some fucking profits, right? I'm not in a position where I need my altcoin to 100x to make it. You know what I mean? Brother, can you tell me how to briefly learn crypto trading correctly? What are you talking about, man? Watch my videos and you will become a profitable trader. Guaranteed. Is the Bitcoin top in? I don't know, bro. I'm the boss. I make the fucking rules. But you guys are important members of this family. I wish I had way more smoothie, man. Slurp the Dipperino so many fucking times. I don't even know what that is. You have a McDonald's hat. I wish. I might soon if Bitcoin dies. Okay, daddy. Whoa. That's a word, right? I'm so fucking smart. I'm actually gonna sell this. Don't right click it. Do not screenshot this. This is a NFT, a one of one by Trader Mayne. If you want to buy this, DM me 100 Ethereum. If I had AIDS, I imagine it would feel exactly like this price action here. Bro, come on now. You know, we got this, whatever this is, the dual dildo. No one calls it a dual dildo, but I'm coining that. The double-sided dildo. Almost died. That would have been awful for you guys. Health, very important. Nobody makes me bleed my own blood. Yeah, I just went on a huge rant there. I don't even remember what the fucking question is. Blah, 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 blah. What? Almost puked. Oh, that's fucking hideous. Sorry. Fuck football. Fuck you. I'm just kidding, but not really. Not maybe. I am. His and her dildos. That's funny. Daddy Mayne. Why is everyone calling me daddy? Do I got fucking big dad energy? Is that what's going on? Giving off daddy energy? I gotta get a pair of fucking New Balance shoes, a fanny pack, start rocking jean shorts, throwing out a gut and just grilling up a storm. Mayne, are you Australian? Do Do I sound Australian? Fake news, fake news. Your neck is an order block. Looks like I was just jerking off fucking 2 wieners. That's gross. What the fuck? Okay, weird thing to say. I do have the same skin color as milk. You're goddamn right it is. Oh, people are calling me daddy because of my mustache. Okay. Is the stream still in partnership with Bitcoin? Definitely not. I guess that's because I'm super smart though. So I wouldn't say there's no intrinsic value in crypto, but I am absolutely here to get rich.